chaps that just want to laze about, don't like pulling their weight. Well, a good ganger would turn around and say to his fellow mates, well, he's got something wrong with him, or he's got a bit of trouble at home. So we in turn say, well, we'll carry him today. We work for him that day. But you'll find in the long run, they start playing up, and there's only one way to deal with them people, is to turn around and say, well, you're out. And when you're out, you're out. But the ganger just leaves the man roasting on the stones, as we call it, and he don't give him a job. So he picks the next bloke up who thinks he's a good worker, and then he's in the regular gang. Fortunate enough for him. The men today are like everybody else. We have our cars, we have our television sets. Some have them on hire purchase, some are fortunate enough to pay money down. I'm one of the chaps that's had stuff on hire purchase, and I'm not afraid to say so. Hire purchase is a good thing, providing that you take it steady, take it normal, and get the things that you want. I don't mind keeping up with the Joneses. I want to beat the Joneses. Well, what worries the average chap, a working class chap, he doesn't get to say. He doesn't get the chance to voice his opinion. He's interested in politics, surely he is. He must be, otherwise, well, he can't think much of his country, you see. More and more mechanisation is coming into docks. A very, very good thing. It takes a long time to mechanise these places, and it takes a lot of money. The firm I work for is a big firm, and we are mechanising as fast as we can. Some of the chaps at the docks today don't like mechanisation because they know the old days. They can remember the Great Strike, the 1927 Great Strike, where thousands was out of work.
I'm always happy-go-lucky fella. I try to be happy with my family. I know I shall be happy. It's a normal thing today, not like the old times when you was kind of down and out and hard up kind of thing. I like to go out and spend my money, go about in the car, enjoy myself. Everybody should be happy, and I don't see why we can't be. The things I like are the things I want. The things I've got, I'm happy with, and I like to be happier still.
I do think employers are much better to us these days. I do think that we're in closer contact with them. We have got lovely facilities. We've got a fine swimming pool that we can go into in a lunch hour. I think we work better because we're happier and we can talk about the fun we had in the pool at lunchtime. I've been here since 1932, and I do think people must be more skillful because of the machines they have to cope with. It's quite a companionable job. We all have fun together. The ways of packing chocolate has changed so much. They are much more complicated. Most of the women are married. We call it the school shift. They take their children to school before they start work, and they're home in time to collect them. This work, to the outsider, may look boring, but it isn't. There's always something different coming along, different novelties and different coloured foils, and it all helps to vary the job. I was born here, and before the war, most of the workers here were local people, but people don't seem to stay nowadays. I think it's because they've got a choice of so many jobs. My employers say they have a 90% turnover change of employment during a year. I think the boss has more respect for the workers these days. In fact, I think everybody has.
Well, if you wanted help, your husband's out of work, you wouldn't go while you've got anything in the place that would fetch a shilling. You'd have to go to right down in want. And if you did have anything left in your home, when he came down to see you, he'd say, well, what about that on the wall? What did you come for? That you'd have to sell that picture if it was the value of £1, and when you'd sold that, the next day you could go and ask them for something. They give you a ticket for 2 loaves, might be black bread, it might give you some rice, some flour, and some potatoes. But you couldn't go again for a long time.
The old people did have a bad time in the old days. My mother, who is 74, had a bad life when we were children, as we were in rooms. George and I have 2 children. Jennifer, who is 9, as you can see here, and Carol, who is a teenager, she is 15. And as you can see, she likes makeup and clothes. Carol doesn't read at all. I think myself, if she was to read a bit more, she'd learn a bit more. But I was never one for reading, so I suppose she takes after me. Because in my younger days, if you had a book, my mother used to do a nap. Say, oh, reading again. Don't know what you find in them books, loaded fresh. With the girls and boys of today, they start courting young and they're trusted. They just stop in a room on their own and you don't interfere. The only time you go in there is when they have a cup of tea or coffee or anything. Myself, as regards of girls getting into trouble and having babies, why I think it is because the parents don't let the boys come into the house. They find back turnings to go to with no one about, as the saying is, and then that's when the trouble starts. Things have changed, but some things are still the same. We still shop in the markets. East Street Market is more or less a working class market. You can buy a great big bowl of fruit for the kids to last them the week, whereas if you buy it in a shop, sometimes you pay dear for a pound of apples, pound of oranges, whereas you can buy £2 at a time at East Street. As a rule, my husband pays for that. You can buy bargains. You could go to East Street and buy a dress, say for 30 shillings, but if you buy it in a shop, you might have to pay £2 or £2.10 for it. And it may be the same kind of dress, same make. The stallholders will tell you that times have changed. As regards to buying bananas and that, they auctioneer them at East Street. But you stand there sometimes and wait for it to come down too low and you've missed your chance.